everyone, Jester Bell is back, and I have recently watched the Prey movie. Watched it almost twice, actually, because I wanted to see certain parts of it again to better form my opinion of the movie. And so, after kind of sitting on the film for a while, sleeping on it, hearing a lot of other reviews on it, I finally am ready to give my opinion on Prey myself. And so, let's just get right into it. So I understand people's trepidatiousness at this film because when you go to the Alien, Predator, and Terminator franchises, which I see those films as all related in a sense because they're all horror action movies and they all came on around the same era and they all have huge fan bases except for usually the sequels that have come out for the films. I guess those all those franchises have like a good sequel like to the very first movie, but then when they go on for so many years and they're constantly trying to milk more blockbusters out of them, then they just get worse and worse and worse until they've kind of tainted the entire franchise and no one really cares about the films anymore. That happened with Terminator Dark Fate, that happened with Terminator Genesis, it happened with Prometheus, Alien Covenant, The Predator by Shane Black. And so I understand why people were like, as soon as the trailer came out, it's probably going to be bad. And when they saw that the lead female protagonist, they were like, this is going to be just another feminist propaganda film. So I gotta be honest, just because of how bad female characters have been written in these kinds of films lately, I was expecting that too. Then I started hearing good things about it, people making it out to be a masterpiece, and so I was like, regardless of all that negativity that I was initially hearing, I'm gonna go try it out. So I watched it, and it's not nearly as good as people are saying it is, but not nearly as bad either. So there's things about it that I really, really like. I love the setting in 1700s America. I love all the different backdrops that gives. This movie had some really excellent cinematography. And but I was what I appreciate about the most is that there were ideas that I really liked about it, and it seemed like you would expect doing another one of these movies it's going to be really dumb and that they don't respect the original material at all, but this movie actually had something on its mind. It really pits it makes a parallel between the Predator and its prey this time because you have the Comanche tribe and they're hunters and they have rituals for hunting and they see some honor in being able to complete these trials in hunting, and that's very similar to the Predator. So I like seeing that parallel for once, and it is a bit slow in the beginning, but you get a lot of setup and you see the Predator going through the food chain trying to figure out who the predators on this new planet are for it to kill for game and to declare itself the superior species based on that. So it's a lot of setup in the beginning that just takes it back to basis with these characters, to the original premise of the Predator films, and just takes that premise and uses it and executes it a bit differently. And so it's just really nice to get a film that's simple in that regard. And there's some really nice setup and payoff in this movie. In the beginning, for example, there's a mud pit that the main character gets trapped in, and it comes back later in terms of how the Predator is defeated. And I appreciated that. Just simple setup and payoff, basic storytelling that works to make the film work. I thought the action sequences were pretty intense in this film. I liked guessing how the main characters were going to figure out how to kill the Predator. And here's the big thing I want to say, because there are still naysayers about this movie that are like, oh, you're taking 100-pound woman out to defeat a Predator. And it's like, Arnold Schwarzenegger can't defeat a Predator, and neither can a giant Kodiak bear in this movie, which, by the way, is one of the best visuals in the film. And so it's like physicality doesn't matter. This could have easily been the same story with like a young teenage boy who no one believes in and he wants to prove himself going out to defeat the Predator. And I guarantee those naysayers would not have a problem with that just by virtue of it's a man. So I did have problems with how the main character was portrayed, though. She's not a Mary Sue. She makes mistakes. She's overconfident about her ideas, but she's hesitant about executing them. You can see that in her performance. But I think that the performance carries the character, and some of the writing that allows her to struggle. I think that the performance ultimately carries the nuances of the character more than the writing. Because, yes, while she is allowed to struggle and she is allowed time to develop and get experience in order to be this hunter, I didn't feel like I knew much more about her beyond this desire to be a hunter, and that made her character very flat to me, and that made me not be able to relate to her. And that's what especially made that beginning. You don't see the predator actually. You don't have our main character meet the predator until halfway through the film. But that's what made it so that the first half was kind of boring, because it was set up and it was a necessary setup, but I didn't feel a connection with the main character. In fact, there was one point in the film where I was like, I could shut this off right now and not be concerned about the ending because I'm not invested. But then it gets better once the predator finally appears. There's once again very cool visual of him killing a Kodiak bear, and you get to see his silhouette through the blood dripping on him. Of course, he's invisible, but you see his silhouette through the blood. And so then he just completely decimates the hunter tribe, the kind of hunting party that had gone out to find the main character Naru. And so you get to see the Predator is very nuanced in his writing. You get to see him kind of make decisions on whether he's going to kill the main character or not, when she's in a trap, when she doesn't really seem like a threat. I also like it how the Predator only goes after creatures that it knows are predators. It waits till, see, like a snake attacks a mouse, and then it attacks the snake. A wolf attacks a rabbit, it attacks the wolf. And the bear is what's attacking Naru, so it assumes that Naru is prey as well, and that's why it kind of has this sort of question of whether it should attack her or not, until the very end where it's clear that these two are at complete odds, and Naru uses that to her advantage. So I really liked all of that. I liked all of those elements. I also liked Naru's brother, but he isn't in the film very much. This is apparently his first acting credit, and they have good chemistry as brother and sister, and he is a very good warrior. I liked seeing that, but he's barely in the film. So by the end of it, I'm like, yeah, it's pretty good. It's just really that beginning that it was really felt a bit mundane to me because I didn't feel that connection with the lead character, and that's really what I needed. I wish that they took her on a far more traditional arc where she loses her confidence, and earlier in the film she has to prove herself, she has to come back out of it by the end. I think that just doing a very traditional character arc would have helped that. So it's an okay film. It's like, it's worth your time. I don't think that it blows things out of the water at all. I think that it's just a halfway decent movie compared to how bad the other Predators films were. So, what do you think of Prey? Did you enjoy the movie? Do you want to see it get a sequel? And what do you think of the controversy around it? I personally am just a person who wants to see good movies and good writing. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I will see you guys next time.